So today I want to show how to use StoriBot to visualize some survey data. First thing you do here is click New Story. Now in this case, our survey data is in a Google Sheet. The Google Sheet is publicly available. It's this Ask a Manager Salary Survey, some responses, and this Google Sheet is generally available to anyone with the link, so we don't need to connect StoriBot specifically to it. All we need to do is copy the link. So we come across here, paste the link in here and hit create. And StoriBot will go and read that Google Sheet. It will create a file for each of the tabs in the sheet, spin up the compute environment and other workspace tools that it needs, and then we can get to work visualizing the data. Okay, so we come into here and we just need to wait for our environment to be completely set up. This does take a moment. So once StoriBot's ready, it will say, what do you want to build today? And you can then start to just communicate it with it like any other LLM. So I want to prepare a web page for stakeholders about the 2024 salary survey data. You can ask it, what ideas do you have? Now, the very first time you connect it, it will just go and explore its workspace. This might take 30 seconds to a minute, and then it will come back to you with some ideas, and you can have a little chat to it about what the visualization is that you want to make. Okay, so you can see here it's come back and told us about the data set. It's clearly quite a large data set. I've asked it for some ideas, so it has come back and proposed a bunch of questions in 3 different tabs here. So what's the overall vibe? I think I'd like to make an interactive explorer. That's a really great idea. So the focus area, you kind of want to pick all of those as a focus area. Maybe we'll go with 3 to 4 focus charts just to begin with. So once you answer its questions and submit those responses, it will just continue. Once it's comfortable and it's got a bit of an idea of what it wants to build, it will get to work. So you can see, okay, it's going to build this salary explorer, some sort of bee swarm plot, which sounds very interesting. The gender pay gap by industry. So that's always good to sort of see how men and women are paid differently in different industries. Looks like some sort of analysis about remote work and geography. Obviously in the large cities, people tend to be paid a little bit more. And then lastly, something about education. So you can see it's gone and read a whole bunch of files, and it's sort of just orienting itself. And it seems pretty confident here. Whenever it thinks, it will leave this little thought for a moment, and you're welcome to expand that and have a look at what its thinking is. You can also click on any one of these. Once it is ready to go, it will spin up the chart UUIDs and get going. So as it starts writing the charts, as soon as each chart is available to you, the UI will just simply start to update. So we can see here that it has already built a couple of charts here. So looks like we have this salary explorer. During this process, you will see quite a bit of refreshing. It's just really saving you from manually refreshing the screen. If you look down here in the bottom right corner, there's this kind of discrete overflow menu. If you click on that, you'll see a number of different things. This just opens and closes the chat panel. This is just a manual refresh, but you shouldn't need to use that. It should automatically refresh. And then there's some other things here, but the one to draw your attention to at the beginning is this controller, which lets you switch between the pages. So we would expect that we're going to end up with 4 pages eventually. You can also use the left and right arrow keys on your keyboard. So if I move the right arrow key, I can see here's the gender pay gap. And here looks like we've got a remote work compensation chart with a kind of interesting industry selector. so we can see some of those differences. And then lastly, it looks like the fourth chart has been made. Here we can see the education ROI. So what is the return on investment for education? So, this was a fairly comprehensive survey, with all sorts of different questions in it. And StoriBot's done a pretty nice job of kind of synthesizing that down. We'll also run some general QA on the charts. But at this point, it's probably a pretty good opportunity to start to look at what it's built. You can see here, looks like we've got sort of a color by remote status or gender or education. Looks like we've got a filter for industry, and then obviously there's some currencies in here. This is our dumbbell showing the gender pay gap by industry. And then we've got this experience level selector, so we can sort of start to see that difference might be. So yeah, that's really it. At this point, you can come in and ask it to make any change you might like, or request a different web page, or maybe ask it for some additional ideas. But that's how you can create some outputs for survey data using StoriBot.